Welcome to this week's Light Warrior session. Today's interview is all about our dreams. Eric Tyrone is a dream time and mindfulness coach and the creator of the Get Woke in Your Dream Time Masterclass. Eric has a combined 30 years of studies in energy medicine, shamanism, yoga, mindfulness, and meditation. He teaches students around the world how to tap into and utilize their dreams as a transformational tool and healing modality. You can learn more about Eric at soul-dreamers.com. Thank you so much to this week's incredible sponsor, Arctic Chaga. This healing tea has been used for centuries to boost immunity. It has 215 different vitamins, minerals, and nutrients essential to our health. My favorite product is the ground chaga, which I love adding to my coffee or my water. So you can use my code BLAZE20 to get 20% off at arcticchaga.com. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. I am here today with Eric Tyrone, the Dream Man, Dream Time and Mindfulness Coach. Thank you so much for reaching out and for joining me on the podcast. This is really, really great.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the chat.
Yes. So I'm in Alaska and it's 7 a.m. and Eric is in Thailand and it's 10 p.m. So, I'm just taking a moment to savor the beauty of the internet for all the ways that it's disturbing our minds. There's all these little bright lights, like us being able to do this right now. I just think it's really, really special and cool. So thanks again.
Other half of the planet, daytime and nighttime. It's pretty wild.
It's amazing. Cool. So tell us about being a dream time coach. That's not something I've ever heard of. And I will tell you a little bit of my dream journey that just started this summer. So it's really fun to talk to you. Yeah. But yeah, tell us, what does that mean? What is that?
Yeah, everyone asks that question. So, because you don't really hear that every day, but it's something that just fell into my lap personally through just life experience of, just dreams have always stood out to me since an early age as something significant. And I got my first dream book when I was 14, discovered it at an esoteric store just around the corner from my grandparents' house. It was like finding crystals for the first time and books on astral travel and dreams and health and wellness. It was like a toy store for me at that time because I was a dork in all the best ways. So ultimately that's led me to, for one, having such a strong connection to dreams. Anytime I've had roommates, friends, family, anytime they have a dream that stood out to them, they'll call me, message me, and just want to get some tips around the dream to help unravel what that dream meant for them. So I've been a go-to dream person my whole life. And then it just came clear that I need to share this with the world and package it because, we're in our culture, there's a lot of messed up things in our culture, to put it lightly. So now a lot of us are in the healing process to kind of unlearn things. And dreams is one of those tools, it's an untapped resource, an untapped transformational tool that we have access to. And so dreams is, again, one of those modalities that we can tap into, every single one of us, and use it complementary along with any other healing processes we're doing to just help aid that process and move it along. And also to gain insights and inspiration in our dream time. So that was a long-winded answer to, now I'm a dream time coach.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really interesting. And I definitely like it when we have those moments where we're like, oh, wait, I've been the go-to person for XYZ for how long now? Why am I not doing this for everyone?
Yeah.
So
it's one of our gifts when we have people come to us for certain things.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, and you're a dork in all the right ways. That's okay. No, that's really cool. So dreams are so fascinating. And I got a message from my guides. This year has been so interesting, and I've been tapped in brand new ways with just whatever is out there, and been doing a lot of automatic writing and getting just some messages here and there. And a really clear one that came through was to start writing down my dreams every morning. And I found that interesting because it's not something my conscious mind would have said. My first thought was, but I barely ever remember my dreams.
but it was a clear message. So I'm like, yeah, why not? I'll do it. And I have here like this little journal. I don't know if you even call it a journal. It's chicken scratch. Like you can barely read half of it. But I committed and I'm like, why not? If I can't remember, I won't write anything. If I do, I'll just scribble down whatever I can. And what was so fascinating through this process is that it was like a muscle being used and developed, because all of a sudden, I started that on July 1st. And now I went from barely ever remembering my dreams to I always remember something, but a lot of times I can remember details of like long dreams, or I'll remember 4 different dreams. And I will say I have no idea what any of them mean. The dreams themselves don't seem to be, well, you'll probably say something different about this, but I'm not getting any clear message from the dreams alone. But I do feel like I'm being like trained for something. Like something's going to come through and now I'll remember it because of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're definitely being trained in our dream time. So now we can learn to, like you said, use that muscle, practice it by writing the dreams and then learning to interpret them. And then interpretation is also a process too. It's a muscle you have to practice. It helps to develop our intuition as well. So by the time this is over, we'll give you and everyone listening some tips so you can actually start unraveling your dreams on your own.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I think dreams are such a question mark for us, because again, I love that you're doing this work because we all sleep. you know, we all
Yeah.
have access to this. And I think the interpretation part is intriguing because, again, I'll see strangers or friends and be in different places, but just feel really confused about it when I wake up. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that. And I was looking at your website, which is your website is beautiful, by the way. I really like it. And so I was looking at you offer a lot of cool things, but the dream course that you have, and I was reading the testimonials and they were so cool. And people, I mean, they're really finding, this as this really helpful tool for them. So one lady was saying like she's a yoga person and it's like an extension now of her yoga practice and, people getting insights. So really cool.
Yeah, and definitely the word yoga is union, like union with the fullness of who we are, like our higher self, like just that union between, our ego self and just the fullness of us. And so anything that's helping us to come into that place of union, in a sense, even that is yoga. So you could even look at dreams as part of yoga. It's just one of the spokes on the wheels. And there's this video. Do you know Neil Tyson deGrasse?
Oh yeah.
Scientist? Yeah. So there's a video clip of him where he says, we're made of star stuff. He like explains it more. He says, I just want to walk up to people on the streets and shake them and say, you're made of star stuff. Did you know this? Like passionately. That's how I feel about dreams. Like your dreams have messages for you. Did you know this? Every night. Like I feel that same passion to share it. So I'm glad we're doing just that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned the hard way that people don't like it when you do that. When we
No.
when we want to help so much. I mean, I know that feeling though, and it's like through my own healing journey, the more I learn or the new tools I find that work so well, and I just want to go like, please, you guys, you're not a victim. You can do this. And but we have to wait for people to come to us. And so that's why I'm grateful to share you with, my friends, and so they can come to you because they're super interested in dreams and get, all they need. So I read that you used to be a stuntman and that a meditative experience kind of shattered your reality. So do you mind telling us about that?
Sure. Yeah. I've worn a lot of hats like throughout my life. I've done just one of those people that's done like so many things, like professional photographer, just a stuntman, coder. Yeah. So be a stuntman, that was a fun time. And it was during that time period that I started Kundalini yoga. That was just the first yoga I got introduced to. Not for any reason. It's just what came to me. I didn't know anything about it. It's just yoga to me. And so through that process of doing yoga and meditation, all of a sudden I started becoming more aware of my mind and my body. And that was just like a natural process that now my body, being more aware of my body, certain things that ate, I realized, don't make me feel good. I didn't notice that before. So I cut out certain foods, introduced new foods that were healthy. And yeah, just really just changed things. And one day I had a Kundalini Awakening, and I didn't know what Kundalini was, or even what Kundalini Awakening was. You've probably heard these stories. It's pretty common to have one and not know what it is. It wasn't until many months later that I learned what had happened to me. But when I had that experience, and just in brief, for anyone that's listening that's not familiar with it, Kundalini is, it's an energy that's stored in the base of our spine. And through certain practices and just becoming more aware, that energy can get released. And it pulses up and down, in a sense, your spine, but energy pathways up and down to the crown of your head. And it pulses up and down. It's activating your whole energy body. And with that comes a broader awareness. And that broader awareness, the day after that happened, I was just at a job, just a normal job. I worked a part-time job outside of stunts that allowed me the freedom to do stunts and go to casting calls. And so, but all of a sudden I noticed the colors are more vivid. And so I noticed, I was like, what's happening? Everything looks more vivid, the colors. And then all of a sudden I just saw, in a sense, where I just started seeing things that I was doing, things that I was eating, things that I was pursuing, just totally shift in a moment, everything, all just in a moment. I was like, okay, don't want to do this, don't want to do that. I felt like Tom Cruise in Minority Report, where he's doing the hand gestures on the screen display. It's like, okay, let's remove that, let's add this. And then from that point on, I started studying energy medicine, Reiki, healing, touch, shamanism, went deeper into yoga, meditation, went to retreats, and that was my journey from stuntman to meditative experience.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. How did how did it feel to get rid of maybe a lot of these things that were your identity, or maybe someone else's identity of you? Because I've experienced some of that where I knew that I was ready to let go of something big, but I got nervous about everybody else. And I know we just have to let that go. But did you feel any of that? Or was it just like I'm ready, who cares, let's go? Like, how was the process?
No, there definitely is that process of like, going to a party and just feeling a bit disconnected from everyone else. And then certain friendships, feeling, because of that shift, feeling certain friendships just weren't compatible anymore. And so it was definitely a process of a change that wasn't comfortable, because it's not comfortable to all of a sudden stop hanging out with certain people and like, now where do I belong? Where do I belong? Because now I've seen and experienced new things and feel like I need to connect with other people that get me now at that point. And it was a process for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did it. Sounds like, I feel from your smile and just overall energy, you're really happy with the path you chose and where you are today. And
Couldn't imagine it any more different. Yeah.
wow, that's so neat. Cool. So let's go back to dreams. I really want to kind of stay on that path, just because I think it's such a fascinating topic. So what kind of, if you're ready to give tips or just dive in more, maybe like what's kind of your favorite part of teaching people how to access their dreams in this deeper way? Like what lights you up when you're doing this work with other people?
Well, before we go into tips, how about we'll just I'll share a couple things like ancient cultures and modern culture inspired by dreams. So this is, again, I just love geeking out on this. So I'm going to geek out. You just direct me as you need. So the ancient Egyptian word for dreams is Raswet. And if anyone is Egyptian and knows the correct pronunciation, let me know. But Raswet is the word for dreams. It translates to be awake. So the Egyptian word for dreams means to be awake. And the Egyptians understood that in our dream time, our eyes are opened and that we have access to see behind the veil of this 3D world. So that's where the Egyptians were coming from. Ancient Greeks and ancient Egyptians both had what are called dream temples. And these were set up by the same being back in the days that was traveling between places. But dream temples could also looked at as healing temples. So they would use dreams as the primary diagnosis tool to guide that person's path of healing. So the person would come there, sleep, dream, share the dreams, translate the dreams, and they create a healing journey for this person in ancient Greece and ancient Egyptian. In traditional Chinese medicine, they see dreams as showing up to bring us back into balance, to bring our yin and our yang, masculine and feminine qualities, back into balance. So they're teaching us, again, bringing us back into that wholeness of ourselves. Let's see, maybe share another one. Okay, here's one. The Ashwar people in South America, to this day, they're known as a dreaming culture. So every morning they drink Wayusa tea, which happens to be one of those teas or herbs that can help with your dream recall. So Wayusa you can get at your health food store. So they drink Wayusa tea every morning and share their dreams, because not only as Native Americans, as well, as far as not only did they see dreams for personal development to help overcome fears and for growth, but also to help their community and guide their community. Okay, so there's so many of these ancient stories I go into, but there's just a couple to get some inspiration. And the reason of sharing these is just to show the power of dreams and how ancient cultures, they knew what was up. And so here's some pop culture. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. You know that song? Yeah, Yesterday by the Beatles. So that song was composed by Paul McCartney in a dream. He had the melody, woke up, he says he went straight from his bed to his piano, composed the song, and then the rest of the Beatles together, finished the song together. So it was a collaboration. Okay, here's one. The Navi People. Now this is a question for any geeks out there that keep track of this stuff. Do you know who the Navi People are? They're the Navi people are the blue people indigenous to the planet Pandora in the movie Avatar. There it is, Avatar. So the blue characters from that movie were inspired from a dream that not James Cameron had, the director, the writer, but that his mother had. James Cameron's mom had a dream that she met with a 12-foot tall, blue skin, extraterrestrial woman, and shared that dream with their son James, and now we all know Avatar. And I can't wait for the next one. It's going to be underwater. Yeah. Okay. And one word of pop culture, and that's again, this is showing you like dreams. You can get personal development out of them every day, but sometimes those ideas turn into grand things too. Creative inspiration. The infamous author Stephanie Meyer, she wrote the series, the Twilight vampire series. So that came from a dream. She had a dream that she saw a vampire boy with sparkly skin sitting in a meadow with a human girl having a conversation. And that turned into Twilight. She wrote it down, and she said to an interview with Oprah that she had no intention, no plan when she had the dream to turn it into a book. It was something she later revisited and ended up writing a story about it. And then other things like, I won't go into details, but scientific breakthroughs, Nobel Prizes have come from dreams. The discovery of the structure of an atom, the structure of the benzene ring, which is a chemical that made plastics, rubbers, and fuels possible, which isn't everything. But thank goodness, I like to add this little side note to that when I share that story, because we are definitely moving away from synthetic materials and fuels and plastics, but it's still really incredible that served its time, and that all came from a dream. So there's my little rant.
Oh, good rant. Yeah, now that you're saying all that, I can think of people in my life who are those people who are like, I had a dream. And now, like, I had an old friend who his were always kind of related to his everyday life. It wasn't big inventions, but he would wake up and be like, okay, in my dream, I figured out exactly how I'm going to rearrange the whole house, or like things like that. And it was all about it. And he could remember every detail of these dreams. I had a teacher in high school. I was like a big theater nerd. And she would always have dreams about what we were supposed to do. And like one time she was, Blaze, I had a dream that you're going to choreograph a tap dance for our show. And I'm like, I can barely tap dance. And she's like, it's okay. I dreamt it. You got it. You got it. And so I did it. You know, she did that all the time to people. So it's just, that's really fun. I want strong messages. I want my dreams to tell me brilliant things
Awesome.
to do.
Yeah, and you know, for creative inspiration, you can ask your dreams. You can proactively set an intention before going to bed. Even write it in your journal if you just want to, you know, put the lead to the paper and write it down. That can be helpful too. Just say, you know, I love a dream for some creative inspiration around this or that, or I love an idea, or I'd love some guidance around this situation. So it doesn't have to be creative inspiration. It can be anything you want clarity around. You can ask. And if it's something that's on your mind, it's already showing up in your dreams, but you can proactively ask for a specific dream.
Okay. I've done a little bit of that. Not specific things though. I wonder how specific you can get.
You can get as specific as you like. And if it's information that it's not going to serve you to have yet, then you won't get it until the time is right. But you will get it if it's going to serve you.
Can you give any examples with you or your clients of like a dream that seemed ordinary, but how you found the messages in it?
Sure. Yeah. I'll just scan my database real quickly. Okay. So yeah, here's one. And this was a recurring theme for me at one time too. And that's another thing that people often experience is a recurring theme. You know, it might be a different dream, but there's always an ocean, there's always a dog, or there's always a tree, or whatever, some recurring theme. So for this little recurring sequence was all about stairs. And so at the surface level, I'll share one of the dreams that you wouldn't maybe really, well, this one's kind of clear. Maybe it's just clear to me, I'm not sure, but I think this one might be pretty clear to a lot of us. Once you realize how to interpret dreams, it starts to become intuitive. So in this dream, there's this beautiful palace, and I'm trying to get to this beautiful room in this palace, and I'm climbing things, and it's a sketchy climb. There's a far drop below. I'm like, wow, this is kind of dangerous. This is hard. And then someone just walks over casually and says, why don't you take the stairs? And they point to the stairs. I had a series of these dreams over the course of, I had 5 stair dreams over the course of 2 weeks. The universe was really trying to like nail this to me. And what that is taking the path of least resistance. Like even with these goals or things we want to accomplish, things we want to do, become, it doesn't have to be struggle. Like that's kind of an old way of thinking, that it has to be hard, it has to struggle, hard work, pain, blood, sweat, tears. It's like, no, we can take the stairs. Like when we drop out of our mind and drop into our heart and our intuition, our guidance, we're guided to the stairs. Now it's not an elevator where it's just taking you up. It was very clear, stairs. You know, there's some effort in the stairs. Stairs are long enough, you know, you might feel a little burn in your butt, but so it's taking the stairs. Let's see. See if I grab another one here. And yeah, so going through a meadow, a field. It was like a spacious forest. So it was a forest, but there was lots of space in between the trees. And there were just lions and wolves that I had to go through. And I was like, I need to go from here to there. And I have to go through these lions. So you'll also see as you start to develop and grow and overcome certain things, you'll start to be more empowered even in your dreams. So, or your dreams will just show you an empowered approach to life that you can embody. So in this dream, in this spacious forest, lions and wolves that are not looking friendly. And so what I did instead was I realized I can't walk through here with fear. I need to charge these lions face on. So I ran at the lions and went right up into their face where they could feel my breath. And I roared at them. Ah! To each one, I went by. Just each one that was in my way, I went up to each one and then made my way through. So in this dream, now we're getting into some of the tips that will come from this, but in this dream, the lions and the wolves were representing these thoughts that just the mind that kind of attacks us. It fills that nice spacious forest, that nice spaciousness that within us. It kind of fills that and is attacking. But they don't always represent that. Just in this dream, that's what they represented. So hope that made some sense. Just kind of pulling things out on the fly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, but thank
That's
you.
good. Please do.
Okay. What about, because as you were talking about recurring dreams, I've had 2 recurring dreams in my life. One that was scary as a child that I still remember. Thankfully, I haven't had it in 20 something years. And the other was more recent, and it was a recurring dream about becoming She-Hulk, and Stan Lee was in the dream, and I'll share it just because it's fun, and
Yes, please.
you probably like it. In the dream, I think that I'm auditioning for the movie as the part of Hulk's girlfriend. And Stan Lee comes over to me and says, "Oh no, you are the Hulk." And I've had that dream like multiple times. And I just think it's so funny. And the initial time I didn't really know that She-Hulk existed. And so I woke up and like got online, and now I know so many comic book heroines. But that became a whole theme. Like I've got She-Hulk stuff around.
Awesome.
Yeah. But one of the things that just popped into my head is both of those dreams had a lot of bright green. And if I had to say like my least favorite color, it would be green in my conscious mind. And so are colors ever meaningful in dreams or not really?
Yeah, that's another level of dream interpretation. You can take it there. So, and if there's some color theory that you practice or follow, it'll likely apply to that. But what I connect it to, which we all have, is our chakra system,
Mm-hmm.
our energy body, our chakras, because it's the colors of the rainbow, and it's not just woo-woo stuff. It's actually our energy anatomy. So we've got all the colors of the rainbow. So if you had green, that's the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so She-Hulk, that's incredible. I love that. And if you want, we could just say, if you no pressure putting you on the spotlight now, but the She-Hulk or the Hulk, what does the Hulk represent to you? Like, what are just a couple words or qualities that come to mind?
I mean, the Hulk is super strong, but also a little bit like that's the one superhero who's not really in control. He just rages out and can't help it and sometimes feels bad about it and his life is like tortured from it, but he also like helps people a lot. So that's about it. I don't know.
It sounds like the wounded healer. It's like our wounds become the healing that we offer to the world. So there might be this struggle and these things we struggle with, but through those struggles, we're actually helping people.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
now we can relate. We can relate personally.
Oh, yeah. I really connected that. That like almost made me burst out crying.
I felt that. It's okay. It's
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, that is my life. Like that's what I know I'm here to do. And I talk about a lot, like the hardest experiences in my life gave me immense empathy. And that I know I wouldn't have otherwise. I didn't have any of it before,
yeah.
And
And that empathy. I didn't mean to cut you off.
mhm.
Yeah. The green. You had the bright green in the dream too. So if we connected that to the heart chakra, the heart, it just, and whatever that, again, the Hulk represented, the healing and the helping, and it's like, that's definitely heart energy.
Yeah. Oh, and I also kind of thought more too about, the idea that I thought, oh, I'm just like the sidekick. I'm not the hero, and that the like creator of all the heroes showed up to say, oh no, 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 you are the hero, and that feels cool too. It's like stepping into that power and being reminded like we're here. We're the star of
Powerful
our
dream. Yeah. It's like how a dream of a comic book character can be so powerful and profound.
Ooh, so cool. Awesome. Well, what else would you like to share? I mean, I don't want to make you talk about this all day. I know this is your job and we can all seek you out to find so much more. But if you have any other tips that we can take with us from here
For
and
sure.
start again, it's 2020 and this year has been really challenging. And so I feel like any extra tips that can possibly help us,
Yeah.
understand what's going on inside.
Definitely. And I'm happy to talk about this because this is one of those things that I would talk about even if we didn't live in a world that required money and jobs. This is just something that I naturally do. So now I'm gonna just circle this back to, I shared the dream about lions and wolves, and how in that, and I specifically said in that dream they represented, like the thinking mind and the attacking thoughts. In that dream, that's the key word, because so a dream symbol, and I call it just either intuitive dream interpretation or self-empowered dream interpretation. I haven't really landed on complete language there yet. Versus looking up a dream symbol online or in a dream dictionary. Like I recommend to not do that. So from this point on, if you are doing that, it's okay. But from this point on, I want to challenge you to develop your intuition and look at your dreams in the way that I'm going to share right now, and play with that and have fun with it. And so here's taking the lion as an example of a dream symbol. So in the dream language, dream symbol is anything in your dream, person, place, thing, that's just referred to as a dream symbol. So we're going to use a lion in this example. So person A is from some part I'm in Thailand right now, so let's use that. So let's go with a tiger. Person A is from some part of the jungle of Thailand where tigers were a real daily threat. So anytime that they go out past a certain hour, they always make sure they went out with a buddy system, and they're always being very aware of their surroundings, because they've heard of members of their tribe in the past being taken by tigers, which is terrifying. So that person, a dream of a tiger, might represent fear, danger, worries, warning. But person B, let's say she's from South Africa and her parents specialize in raising wild cats. They've got tigers, they've got lions, panthers. They specialize in raising wild cats to protect them. So person B, she grew up as a kid being able to cuddle these tamed tigers and wild cats. So to her, being able to cuddle these large cats, lucky, they might represent something completely different than the person who saw tigers as a threat. They might represent gentleness, friendship, love, empowerment, self-empowerment. Person C, which is most of us, have only seen lions and tigers and bears on the internet, in movies and pictures and documentaries, in zoos, unfortunately zoos. But for us, it can mean a whole infinite number of things, depending on how we've seen these tigers portrayed and what that represented to us. So that's how you can see one dream symbol can mean something different, totally different to different people. And this is why we're moving away from the training wheels of dream interpretation, of looking up things online, and now tuning into ourselves. By just simply doing this practice of just tuning into yourself and seeing what things represent to you, this helps to develop our intuition, strengthen our intuition. And so what you do is, here's the tips. So take notes, anyone. So tip one, not necessarily in this order, but tip one is everything is a reflection of you. Everything is a reflection of an aspect of you. So if you have a dream of a particular friend, you would think, reflect and write this in your journal. What does that friend represent to me? Oh, that friend's a creative, or that friend is a full-time artist. When I think of that friend, I immediately think of creativity and art. That friend's a musician, or that friend is so positive all the time. How do they stay so positive? Like any of these qualities that person represented to you, you write these down. If it was an animal, like a tiger, a lion, a wolf, an eagle, write down, reflect on that animal. When you think of that animal, what qualities come out to you? If it's an eagle, when I think about an eagle, they've got the bird's eye view. They've got really great eyesight and focus. So you get the idea. It's now we're just pulling qualities out. Now this is how we interpret this for ourselves. It's what it represents to you. So again, that's everything is a reflection of an aspect of yourself. So in your dream journal, you write down your dream, you say, note what stood out to you, and then reflect on each of those things that stood out to you in your dream, then write down what they represent to you. Now you've got that down. The next step is to reflect on the thoughts and feelings that you had in the dream. the thoughts and feelings. So at any point in the dream, you may have had a range of thoughts and feelings, or you may have just had one overall thought or feeling through the dream. And a lot of people might just like, generally it's feelings is the healing, but I like to add thoughts in there because it can be reflective of what we're thinking in our subconscious, you know, to see what was I thinking in my dream, what was I feeling in my dream. So now you look at this list of what these qualities were, these aspects of yourself, what they represented to you. And now you've got your list of the thoughts and feelings you had in the dream. When you've written those down in your journal under your dream, now you can start to see, I can put a picture here. I can see a message here. And now let's look at that message. Let's write down the message that we can gather from these words, this scramble, whatever that game is, you know, these words. And let's see where does that apply to my life? Usually it'll be pretty immediately. It's like, oh, it's this situation at work, it's stressing me out, or it's this or that. You can connect that now to your waking life. Next step further I like to do is to create an affirmation from that message. Because it's all good that you interpreted your dream, but if it's just sitting in your dream journal collecting dust, then it's not going to be integrated as much as it could be if you were to, you know, create some short little affirmation out of it. Write it down somewhere you're going to see it throughout the day, every day, for as long as that message is relevant to you. I even like to use my phone and set it on a calendar or a reminder. Get my language out. Set it on your phone's reminder and hit it to repeat every day. And when it pops up, don't just ignore it and swipe it away and go to Instagram. Like, take a pause and connect with that message for just a moment. That's now we're integrating, we're reprogramming. So now we're using our dreams as a transformational tool and taking action. So that's just, there's more in depth we can go into all this, which I do in my group masterclasses, but that alone, you can run with that and be good. It's just a matter of practicing those little tips.
Yeah. Oh, that's really helpful. And it's already eye-opening as I think back on just dreams I've had recently. I especially like the part with going into your thoughts and feelings in the dream. And that's something that stands out to me a lot in my dreams where, like I've even dreamt about this person who I consciously am fearful of. And once in a blue moon, he's in my dreams. And every time I think like, oh yes, he's dangerous. Let's kind of stay away. But I feel super peaceful, super calm, like have the knowing that everything's okay. I'm safe. Like I feel super safe. And, which I wouldn't guess would be how I would feel in my conscious life. But that's what I'm trying to get to. So maybe my dreams are like, it's okay. You're there. It'll be all right. But,
definitely giving you that confidence, that little,
yeah. Cause it's always that. And it's a dream. So I'm like, well, anything could have happened. That could have been a bad dream, but it never is. And even last night I dreamt about someone who is kind of from my past and just more of an acquaintance, but ended up getting in a lot of trouble. And unfortunately, you know, we meet so many people in life. Sometimes they end up making really bad choices. And as I'm sure you've noticed, being a human is quite challenging. So
yes.
Once in a while, these people will pop into my dreams. And again, in my conscious life, I pretty much just try not to talk about them, think about them, or even almost have that shame or judgment on ourselves when we've befriended someone who ended up to be not what we thought. And in my dreams, though, like last night, I had this dream about going to visit this person, and all I felt was compassion. Like I understood him in my dream. I had no judgment. There was none of that like icky feeling that I have almost right now thinking about some of the choices he's made. But in my dream, it was just like, oh, I should check on him. How is he? His heart must be hurting. Like, oh, what a hard time he's had, you know. And I just find that I woke up and I'm like, oh, that was weird, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something also to reflect on. As when you first wake up from a dream, you know, you could see, like, sometimes dreams are more abstract. Like, okay, this is definitely a subconscious thing. Let's apply these tools I just gave you and unwrap that, find the hidden gems. Sometimes it might be straightforward. Like maybe there's someone that you're connecting to, or there's some connection that wants to be healed there, or whatever it is, and it might show up as a literal, like, hey, reach out to this person, you know, and you can usually tune in and feel for yourself what was the quality of that dream. And if you're not sure, you can just reach out to that person anyway if you feel comfortable doing that. And you don't have to tell them you had a dream about them unless you're that close, but you could just, hey, just wanted to say hey, you know, and you'll be surprised sometimes like that they may have actually needed a call at that time. And some other things, other types of dreams. So we've got in mainstream like psychological understandings of dreams, they say that our dreams are a clearing out of our minds, of our subconscious, our processing, our day-to-day, just the brain processing information. And yes, but we can also learn from that. So I just applying that, what the medical world says. It's like, yes, there is that processing because we're always processing information, but not to be ignored. We can learn from it. And then there's prophetic dreams. So, you know, there might be a dream. A lot of times people freak out when they have a dream of a tsunami or a big tornado or, you know, think the apocalypse is coming. Usually those are not prophetic dreams, even though they seem like prophetic dreams. Not that they couldn't be. They definitely could be, but usually they're not. Usually some big thing like that. Now I say do intuitive interpretation for yourself, but sometimes these big things like this, like big tidal wave, often for people represents some big change in life, some big change, some big emotion. Not that the world's ending. But if you're not sure, you can say, hey, dream, that was a pretty scary dream. Should I be concerned? Should I start preparing? And it's like, no, this is just, you know, just a change that's happening. Yeah, just a couple other little thoughts there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the idea that we're always processing, I mean, that seems unavoidable. So I like looking deeper into it. And one thought, and I don't know if, well, daydreams. I don't know if you think much about daydreams. Is there ever any connection? Like, can it be kind of like our night dreaming with our eyes open? I just feel like I am a massive daydreamer. That's when I get a lot of those hits of like, oh, I had a great idea while I sat here staring out the window. Or is that just my brain?
No, you're right on with it too. So daydreams could even be looked at as visions, you know, visions, daydreams, because it's a vision you saw. And so the visions, daydreams, night dreams, really it's all coming from the same source. It's really all the same. So visions are just like dreams that happen during the day or daydreams. And dreams are like visions that happen when you're asleep. So same.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And there's different, I'm glad you mentioned spirit guides because you took it there right in the beginning, because sometimes I have to feel out, you know, the audience and you know, do I talk about spirit guides? Do I not?
Why not?
Yeah. So in our dreams, you know, we can have, what's showing up in our dreams are our predominant thought patterns and beliefs. It's showing up in our dreams to let us know what's happening so we can learn from it and move past them. But sometimes we have dreams where we actually go to real tangible places in existence. You could call this also astral travel. Same. If you're going to a real place in your dream time, we have an energy body. Our energy body sometimes travels when we sleep. We don't always remember. And sometimes a part of us is choosing not to remember certain experiences when we do this. We're traveling way more than most of us actually realize. Choosing not to remember to help us to stay present in this 3D reality, which we all chose to come here. We're here, so let's do it. Yeah, so real tangible places in existence. And you can consciously do that, you know, through lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming being when you wake up in a dream, you're in a dream and you realize you're dreaming, that's lucid dreaming. And at that point, once you become lucid, you can either just be a conscious observer of your dream, which I often do. I'll just let things unfold and just be a conscious observer and bring back more information that way. Or you can fly, or you can go travel places. Like, I want to go to Mars, or I want to go visit this person. I want to go visit this past loved one. You know, you can actually go and visit places. There's actually been studies in the past, controlled studies, where they've had people triggered into lucid dreaming, and then they've been able to go and meet groups of people to meet in the same place in the dream world. and to describe the same details. People that don't know each other, describing the details of this place, meaning this is not just some place in one person's subconscious mind. This is some place out there in existence that exists, that, because it's the same. They might go another night, weeks later, you might go there and everything is the same. It's the same. It doesn't change. And that's just something in that, to sum it up, astral world. Astral world just being, let's call this the 3D, the physical world. The astral world being more subtle worlds that exist at a higher rate of vibration. And one little note to add to that, because some of this can sound really far out there for some of us, depending on, how new we are to being introduced to this. And that is the scientific fact that our eyes only perceive 0.005%. That's a tiny amount, 0.005% of the visible light spectrum, of the known light spectrum. The visible light spectrum to our physical eyes, 0.005%, tiny, compared to all the energy and that's the energy that we know exists, like other frequencies that we have equipment that can measure and that can see, X-rays just being one example. X-ray machine can see X-rays. So there's a lot that exists beyond this 3D world. The Egyptians knew that we can access that in our dream time. We can access it in our waking time as well.
Oh boy. This is
that
really
wasn't
fun.
too much. Done.
I mean, not for me. I think that's really fun. And then when you're talking about like what we can see, would that be like people that can see auras? Would that be like a next level of they can see a little bit more?
Yeah. So we touched on like things being like a muscle, like intuition being like a muscle. You have to practice. As you start to open up to just the idea of energy and energy healing and all these things, you start to perceive more. You gradually start to perceive more, because now your attention is focused there. Now you're strengthening that muscle of your third eye, your intuition, and you can start perceiving energy. When I started doing Reiki for the first time, at first, in the beginning for me, it was just I did it as a practice for a while, but it was just, in the very beginning, it was just, I knew it was real. I could feel, I was able to start feeling energy. But eventually I started to be able to see that first auric layer of people's energy body, in which I can see on my own in low lighting. It's easier to see energy. You can play with this if you want. In low lighting, either at night when it's like almost dark, or in your house with very low lighting, just notice around your peripheral vision, not your focused vision, but just subtly, just notice, just look into the emptiness and see if you notice any movement around you in your peripheral vision. The subtle cones in our physical eyes can actually pick up subtle light. So you can pick up energy also with your physical eyes too, as you start to expand your range in that 0.005%. And so for me, the heart has a lot of energy. And so there's a lot of pulse. So in low light, I'll see a lot of energy pulsing off my heart. And it just kind of, it moves organically like wind, or like waves or water, but energy. It doesn't pulse in like a line. It kind of flows around. And it might be like a subtle, very transparent, like almost whitish light. Or you might just straight up see colors like some people do.
Well, that sounds exciting. Yeah, and I've heard people that see auras too, and it's not just around people, but they can see them around plants, or just really any living thing. And
That's right.
I believe that just everything around us has some type of energy going on with it. So
Yeah.
for those of you listening who are thinking that we're getting really weird now, that's okay. So just take what resonates and let the rest go.
Exactly. That's my motto. Yeah. Take what you like, leave what you don't like, and create your own.
Yeah.
And that comes, that's a Bruce Lee quote.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I brought that up, and not to just stray off of dreams, is it was triggered by dreams, because sometimes you may have had a dream where you, this is common language I hear from people. This dream just felt so real, felt different, felt so real. Like I hear that line often. This dream felt so real. Often that dream may have been real. And I use the word real very loosely as well, because even a subconscious crazy wild dream, which may not call as real, but the experience is real. It's all real experience. But like a visitation from a loved one, often a past loved one, often those dreams feel more real. People say, oh, this person visited me, felt so real. That's often because it was. And that's where we're talking about, I just wanted to share that there's so much known scientifically that we don't see.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yes.
maybe if you're willing, at some point in the future, we can do a talk that's more on lucid dreams and astral traveling for people that are interested in that. I don't think we need to do that more here. This can be step 101 course. But I know people who are very fascinated with that whole concept, myself being one of them.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm sure you've done it and have thought a lot about it and coached others through that.
Yeah. It's through personal experience now that I share it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have a question for me, but just want to make note now, just before we end this, I would love to just share a couple tips for anyone that's not remembering their dreams. It can be now or in a little.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can wrap up soon. I know it's late there, it's early here. I've got 2 kids that are going to wake up any minute now.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I mean, first of all, just thank you again for
Yes.
being here, for sharing all of this, knowledge and fun information that you've spent however many years honing and experiencing. I really appreciate it. But yes, please, anything else you want to share? I've asked all my questions, so thank you for indulging me. But yeah, please.
Yeah. I'll just wrap these off real quickly, actually. So if you're not remembering your dreams, we all dream. So just as we all breathe, we all dream. We just don't always remember them. And so what you can do is, for one, as you mentioned, when you started dream journaling, that you started to remember your dreams more. That's actually tip number 1, is just get a dream journal. Start dream journaling. When you do that, you start to remember more dreams. And also having that by your bed is going to be a conscious or subconscious trigger to your brain. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to start paying attention to my dreams. Let me start remembering. And just keep setting the intention. You may not remember the first few nights, but once you do, you'll get on a roll and you'll just keep remembering. And then alcohol and drugs. So if for any reason, or if you're not remembering your dreams and you have a glass of wine just before bed, or have a smoke of medical marijuana, whatever it is, or in your legal state, wherever you are, those can inhibit REM sleep, which is the random eye movement. It's that time during dreams. So just take a pause on those things. Give yourself a 3-day challenge to give time for the smoke to settle, pun intended. And then those dreams should return. If they don't return after 3 days, my most recent client, it took her 5 days. But once she had her dreams come back, she was ecstatic. So they will come back. And you can still enjoy that evening glass of wine once those dreams come back. And then the other thing is dream herbs. You can look up dream herbs online. They're called onerogens, which is a Greek word. Oneros being dreams, gen is to create. So onerogens, herbs that create dreams. Wayusa is one. And that's just one. Mugwort is another popular one. There's many out there, but I have to add this: if you're pregnant or on any kind of medications, do your research first, because not all the dream herbs are compatible with pregnancy, etc. So again, always research, find out how to take them, and then setting an intention. And just simply setting an intention each night and doing your best not to get frustrated if you're not remembering. Just keep setting a soft intention and your dream recall will come back. So there's a couple tips.
Yeah, those are great. Those are really good. I had no idea about the herbs. So that'll be interesting to look into. Can you say the name of the first one again or spell it?
Yeah. Wayusa, Guayusa.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now that I wrote it, it's familiar.
It's popular. It's at the health food stores, or even probably regular grocery stores now.
Cool. Thank you. And that's really interesting too about alcohol or drugs. I didn't know that. that doesn't affect me personally at the moment. Actually, in 2 weeks, I'm celebrating 9 years clean and sober. So, woohoo.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Um, but when I couldn't help but chuckle about just saying medical marijuana. I mean, I'm in Alaska where it's like it is legal now, and before it was very popular even then. But so now we're definitely a city with like a pot shop on every corner. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but I like too that you said a 3-day challenge, and this month is recovery month, and so I am also doing this whole series just about recovery. And one of the things I love these days is like these sober curious movements that are going on, and so even just that, like a 3-day challenge, that I don't know. Anyway, that's where my mind went, but
Connection. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And yeah, those are great tips. And again, I totally can give the personal, testimonial for dream journaling. Just, it really transformed everything. And once in a while, I would do an intention before I go to bed of just give me messages in my dream, or help me remember them in the morning is a big one. Help with dream recall. And
that's a good one.
it's been amazing. So yeah, well, thank you, Eric, so much for talking to me today. And I will make sure that everybody knows where to find you. I also love following you on Instagram. So we'll make sure all the links are there.
Perfect. Yeah, I do every few months or so, I do a 4-week live group program where we dive into this together. So I'm sure the link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get the people there. I need to join, get to the next level, all this dreaming. So,
Let's
all
become
right.
dream generators.
Yes. Thank you, Eric, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Blake. It's been a pleasure.
Hello, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I would love to hear about your craziest dreams in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.